What's up, comrades? This is the third episode, and when I spawned in with this wandering trader. So I tried to click on him, and he was buying baked potatoes for emeralds, and I wanted some emeralds, so I decided to try to go get some zombies to try to get the emeralds that I wanted. But then, um, So I went up to the villager to tell him that I would get the baked potatoes from the villager, but then I noticed that there was a skeleton that was shooting the wandering traitor. So the wandering traitor went invisible. I then went to try to punch the skeletons, which was a bad idea, so I ran away into my house. So I went into my house and closed the doors in front of me. So I had to open the doors again to get into my house. But then I left the doors open, which was a very good idea. So I went to make a sword but I accidentally made some sugar, which made me sad. So I went to actually make a sword, and yay! I made a sword. So I went back outside to try to find the skeletons, but I couldn't find them. So I went to go continue to find zombies, and I found this birch forest, which is pretty cool. But then I found a creeper, so I ran away. But then I found a skeleton, so I thought that the skeleton could shoot the creeper. But I wasn't thinking, so I didn't think that. But then the creeper exploded behind me. Luckily, I didn't die, so I looked in my inventory, and then I stopped looking in my inventory. And then I looked around and saw a creeper. And then I let the creeper explode for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm dead now. So... So, yes. I'm dead now. So I respawned, pretty upset with myself. But then I saw the wandering traitor's invisible particles, so I just ignored it and went home. But then, and I looked at the cows and then closed the doors. So I decided that I needed some pressure plates to. So I made the pressure plates so that I could. So I made 4 pressure plates so that I could go through the door easily. 2 on the outside, 2 on the inside. So I placed the ones on the inside first, and then the ones on the outside last, because mobs definitely can't step on pressure plates and open the door to get into me. So I looked at this cow in the face, and I was continuing to contemplate what his name was. And I looked that cow in the face, and I was contemplating what I should name it. And then I got attacked by a zombie, so I tried to attack him, and then I killed him, but then I found a spider, and he was attacking me, so I tried to kill him. So I went in my house, and then I died. Because I left Oh my gosh, that's so silly. So I respawned and found a skeleton, and then there was a creeper behind it, so I thought maybe I could get a music disc, but then a zombie whacked me with a shovel and I died. So then I respawned right next to the shovel zombie, and then the creeper exploded, killing both the skeleton and the zombie with the shovel. So I looked around to see if the shovel had dropped, and there was no shovel. And so I got this zombie in revenge for his brother not dropping the shovel. And then I saw a creeper in the distance, so I ran away. So then I went back to my house. But first I had to take a look at that cow and go harvest my sugarcane. But there was a spider there, so I decided to run away. And then I noticed the fade feature, and then I still kept running away. And then I picked up this rotten flesh, and then I ran away into my house again. So then I was just standing out there, looking at the door, contemplating life. Which was very, Very boring. So I went outside and looked and found this cow. And then I went back inside because I didn't like being watched by a cow. So I went into my crafting table and then I noticed that the cows could step on pressure plates, which was very interesting. So then I decided to go to do some mining, which is a typical thing that you would do in Minecraft. After all, it isn't called Minecraft for nothing. So then I continued mining until I realized that I didn't have any torches, which meant that this mining session was going to be dark. But I kept mining because I thought that I could continue mining because I could see. But then I decided that I couldn't mine because I couldn't see. So I decided to go and wait. So I decided to go and craft some torches by making charcoal instead of the regular coal. But first I had to make a furnace. So I made a furnace. So I grabbed the furnace and put it in my hotbar. And then I placed down the furnace and then started to smelt some logs to turn it into charcoal, because that's how you make charcoal. So I continued to smelt these until a zombie villager attacked me. That was very rude. It's very rude to interrupt someone cooking some logs and just trying to murder you. So that was very rude. So I killed the zombie. What am I doing? So I got the charcoal and I decided to so I got the charcoal and I made 8 torches. So I got some more charcoal. And then I went back into my mine and used my torches to light up the mine. But then I put the torch in the wrong spot, so I had to mine the torch on accident. But it was on purpose, but it was secretly on accident. And then I tried mining this cobblestone with my sword, which didn't work, so I was very confused. Until I used my pickaxe and it actually worked. And then my pickaxe broke, so I went back up to my house and then I made a stone pickaxe. There's a creeper outside of the window. So then I went back to mining, and then I went back to mining again, and then I found some diorite. Why? Why did I have to reach diorite? I said. So I decided to just go around it. I went around the diorite. So I got some granite, and then I turned around and found some copper. So I was like, copper! So then I tried to mine it with my sword again, which didn't work. So I used my pickaxe, and then I tried to mine some of my copper, and it was pretty good. I was getting a lot of copper, but then my pickaxe broke. So I couldn't mine the copper anymore because my pickaxe had broken, and I couldn't mine anymore. So yeah. So then I decided to just go up to the surface and hold my torches, and light the area. So I lit up the area, but I didn't have enough torches, so I decided to go into my house and collect the charcoal that had been cooking. Fresh cooked charcoal. So then I decided to make some 8 torches, and put those around my house. But it was daytime, so I couldn't see if this was even gonna work. But then I stopped recording, and I died. So I started to record again, but unfortunately you didn't see me dying, which is very upsetting. So I went back to continue placing torches around the area. Oh look, my fox. And then I found these mushrooms, so I walked away and I decided to explore the area and go to this birch forest which I had found earlier. So I was walking through the birch forest, having a nice walk, and then I found this dark oak forest far away, so I decided to go there. But then I found a big spruce tree, so I looked at it and saw some podzol, which meant that this was a different type of taiga biome, and I was pretty excited. And then I looked over and continued wandering into the dark oak. And then I took a swim because I was in the water. And then I went up and got some air. So then I was up on the canopy jumping around in the trees, and then I fell off the trees. So then I was walking through the through the grass, and then I was looking at the grass, and then you'd never guess what I just found. A chicken. Buck, 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 So I walked away from the chicken because that was very awkward and strange. So I kept walking away from the chicken, and I continued to walk away from the chicken, and then I found this birch tree, but I still walked away from the chicken. So then I jumped up on top of the trees. So as I was walking on the canopy, I fell off of the canopy. So wow. But then I saw the door that was still in my hotbar from day one, and I found another chicken. I could not escape the chicken. So then I walked over and saw a cow, so I checked out the cow. Moo. But I'm not gonna do the weird animal thing. So then I was suddenly in the water, and I took a swim because I was in the water, so I had to be swimming because you can't walk underwater, except you can, but normally people don't walk underwater. So then I looked at these pumpkins and looked at them because they're cool. So I tried to get the pumpkins, but I only got one because I saw this chicken over here. And then I saw another chicken. So I saw two chickens, which meant I saw four chickens in total, which meant buck, 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 buck. 1, 2. So I walked over and saw a boring cow, which isn't as fun as chickens, but it's fine. So then I saw this beautiful sunset, and I also saw these sugarcane, and then I saw a turtle, which was pretty cool, because the turtle that had been with me in episode 2 had still not been named. So he was asking me if he could name me, but I couldn't name him because I hadn't thought of a name yet. So then I found this desert, so I decided to go into the desert. However, I ran out of hungry points, so I only had to walk. But then I found 2 zombies, one with a bald head and one with a nice hat. And then a third zombie came in to join the crew, and there was a drowned in the corner with a trident, which was crazy. And then there was another zombie which kept attacking me. And then there was still attacking me, and I was at half a heart, which meant that if I took any damage at all, no matter how small, that rhymed, I would die. But I did not want to die, so I just continued going into the desert, where mobs would spawn more frequently. So I continued wandering into this desert, and more mobs would be spawning. I also figured out that this was a beach, not a desert. So I was watching the zombies, and they were crazy. But I kept going towards them because I was feeling bad for the 3 zombie villagers that used to be villagers but had been zombified into zombie villagers. So I felt bad for them, but I ran away from them because they were going to kill me. And there was a skeleton which they could shoot me from a far distance, and there were 2 skeletons, so I couldn't move anywhere. And then there was a zombie villager creeping up behind me, so I had to run away from him while swinging my sword in front of him. And then I was in the water, and I knew that the drown could get me, but I didn't know that. So I was continuing to wander over to my to the dark oak forest because I had died numerous times today. So I went back onto the desert because there are less hiding places for mobs to spawn in the desert. And there was this one zombie with an iron sword, and I wanted the iron sword. So I attacked him, but then I lost my wooden sword, so I wanted to attack him even more. But then there were so many zombies and I forgot to jump backwards and then I died. So yeah. That was the fourth time I had died today, and it wouldn't be the last. So I respawned, and then I saw that creeper hole, and then I was looking around, and it turns out that my torch placing methods weren't so great after all. So I went back into my house, except I didn't. I walked around looking, and there were no mobs spawning. Maybe it was so great after all, and then I noticed my fox. So I walked over to the fox, who still hasn't been named yet. And then I found these poppies and a creeper. So I looked at the creeper and I didn't want to die a fifth time. So I ran into this tree and then I decided to chop some wood down. And then the skeleton that attacked me then the skeleton that attacked me in episode 1 came, and I wanted to kill him for killing me in episode 1, but then he killed me, so I had died a fifth time. But this time I won't tell you if I died again. And then there was another music disc opportunity. So this time I noticed it, but then the creeper almost exploded. And then there were 2 creepers, which meant 2 music discs, if I'd done it correctly. And there were 2 skeletons, which meant that there was a spare skeleton. And then the creepers were exploding, and there were lots of creeper holes. And there was there's 2 skeletons. And I kept swimming away from those 2 skeletons, and I was going to my house. And then I failed this parkour jump, so I went up, and then I opened my inventory on accident. So I went into my house again and then opened up my crafting table. And then I was looking in my crafting table doing stuff. But then apparently skeletons can also use the pressure plates. So they walked into my house claiming it as their own. But I can respawn. So they didn't. But however, I didn't try to claim back my house. So I decided to make this really tall tower because the skeletons were scary and I didn't want to die again. So I kept building up my tower and I went higher and higher. And then I tried to make my tower out of fences, which won't work. So then I kept building up my tower. However, I am very clumsy. In my past episodes, I had fallen off the tower. But the question is, will I fall off again? Well, whatever, we'll see. Well, thank you guys for watching. Hey, I can see my house from here. That's cool. How do I get down? Well, bye. See you guys in the next episode. Bye. Wait, no,